GM everybody, and welcome to the show. Today another day hacking on Solana Wallet for Solana Cypherpunk Hackathon. I'm super glad you're all here. Let me get this set up real quick and we'll start right away. So I'm going to share screen here. I'm going to open the chat and I'm going to quickly make sure that everything is working as expected, including the audio. And that's where I hear myself on YouTube. Great. So let's see where we are today. So yesterday we did a bunch of things. Yesterday we worked on the account selector, making sure that an account would be active and a wallet would be active, and we would have a drop down. So we added these drop downs. We added a way to make these things active. We figured out a bunch of issues, and yeah, if you haven't checked the video and you have some time left, I highly recommend you to check it out. Now, as always, today during the day, I set up a bunch of things here in the app. So as you can see, we now have bottom navigation instead of top navigation. And another thing that I actually just landed, so I was deleting empty branches here. I just added a way for us to do a redirect on empty state. And what I mean with that is if you go to the portfolio right now, you see that I got an account and you see that I got a wallet selected. So this is the stuff that we built yesterday. However, if you have a delete a fresh database, then this stuff is going to be empty. So if we're going to go back to the main branch without my change and we reload the app from scratch, you'll see you're just in an empty state. And now you'll need to know to go to settings, generate an account. I do have a branch with a proper onboarding screen, but this branch is from like last week. So there's a bunch of things there that need updated and need work. So I figured what I'm going to do is actually add a way to redirect you to the settings/accounts screen if you don't have any accounts set. And what that allows me to do, and I do the same for clusters. So if you don't have any clusters, you should be redirected to clusters. So we can actually check this. So I'm going to delete the clusters here. Now this is a state you typically wouldn't really end up in, but still, for the sake of the demo, I'm going to go back to the portfolio loader and you'll see that I actually get redirected already. So this is amazing. So I get redirected to the account screen. I can now at least set up an account. And here you are. And then if I click back to portfolio, because I don't have a cluster, I will be redirected to initialize a cluster. Now, I'm not going to think about what this is supposed to be because it doesn't really matter. We'll add logic to make sure you won't end up with this state for clusters specifically. So probably going to make it so that if you remove the last cluster, we'll reinitialize the default clusters. So that if you remove all of them, we'll give you back the tree that we land with, which are the following three. DevNet, LocalNet, and TestNet. So portfolio, generate, and we'll generate a key pair. So this is what we've done today. And yeah, this is pretty good. I'm super happy with this. We will redirect to the proper login screen, to the proper onboarding screen. But for now, we're going to look at how to use this stuff. So let me see why this doesn't not working. Moving that stuff here. So yes, so I have a branch here, Beam portfolio. So I started basically scratching out a little bit, and then I found out, yeah, I actually need the React Router data loader. So the React Router data loader option allows you to specify a route. It allows you to run logic before a route is loaded. So before these subroutes are loaded, we'll go here. And then this function, super simple. We fetch the accounts and the clusters from DB, and if you're not there, you'll redirect Now, how most people would probably do this is actually go into the routes right here and then use a hook, if not set, redirect, which works, but I think it's way better and way cleaner to let this route just be a route, assuming that everything is right, and then the core routes here, this is what is responsible for making sure everything is loaded. And we will use this pattern more and more. So for instance, settings routes, where are we at? Settings, let's see, settings, source. So here, for instance, the account list. Here we imperatively load a bunch of stuff. For instance, this page, we can do that up front. We can handle if nothing is set. So we can show an empty state. So there's a bunch of things that we can actually move out of this route, out of this feature, and back into the routing definition, which I really like. Backyard Finance, you're doing great work, brother. Keep going. I really, really appreciate it. Thanks so much for checking in. Thanks for the support. We really, really are grateful with each and all of you that engage with us. It really feels like we're building something that you all want to see as much as we want to see this, and that's nothing short of amazing. So thanks a lot for your support. I hope it's interesting to watch. If you have any questions, please drop them there, and I will keep track of the chat here, and hopefully I can give an answer to these things. So let's see. So what I want to do here, so checking these branches, I have this portfolio branch. So I'm going to get this portfolio branch, rebase it on top of this portfolio loader. So I'm going to do this and then git rebase portfolio loader. Now I hope this is a clean rebase, which it is. So there is a work in progress. Right, okay, so actually I'm basing this on the Solana Create React package. This is something else I did today. So let me actually quickly circle back. I'm going to merge in this portfolio loader because I kind of need it to exist in this thing. So let me go back to my terminal. And here is the GitHub page. We are at 63 stars already, so soon to be 69, nice. And for now, I'm going to merge this one through. So I've had it reviewed by this bot, Ellipsis. We've been using Ellipsis. It's mainly great. Sometimes it's kind of annoying, just as any AI, I'd say. But yeah, it did help me spot a few things. It does comment on a few nice things that are like, yeah, this is actually pretty great to do. So now that this is in, the portfolio loader is there because it just works and it's fairly simple. I can use this as my base. So what this package does, what this PR does, it adds this package. So let me actually check out main. And then we can delete the bman portfolio loader branch. We can check out the, we can check out the bman Solana client React package and then quickly look at what this is like. And this will actually wants to be rebased of main. Also a fairly clean rebase, as you see. I'm going to force push just so GitHub is up to date. Meanwhile, the AI can keep on going. I'm going to quickly check my types here just to make sure that this is all still in shape as how I suspected. And then once this is done, I'm going to show around what happened here. So cool. So what we're doing here is very much same as we have DB and DB React, where DB is just a low-level database package where we define our schemas, of which we infer the entities and the DTOs, data transfer objects, and we provide a bunch of helpers. So these helpers are very much low level. They run in anything that has IndexedDB. So in the browser, it can run in Node, it can run in React Native, anywhere. And we have a fairly extensive test suite for a bunch of expected and unexpected behavior. So this has been super useful iterating with these things, iterating on these things, I must say. And in order to use this in the front end, we created this DB React package. So for DB React, we have basically a counterpart for all of these operations. Let's say DB Wallet create, it actually calls into this DB Wallet create, passing in the DB and passing in the input. Now, and this is fairly useful because this is a single source of truth for all of the queries and mutations for this entity in the front end. So I figured I want something similar for Solana. So what I did today is create a Solana client package. And this one right now, it really only exports a Solana client. So this is just using Kit. And we have an RPC and a subscription, which is the bare minimal, like let's say Solana client. We infer a proper type from this. And I think we'll be passing around this one in a lot of our functions. Similarly to how we do that with DB React. And then to use this in React, we have Solana Client React, which right now only has one hook that gives me this client, but I'll be adding more. And this is also the reason I didn't land DB Solana React just yet. I'll be adding a bunch more. So today, at least, I want to add fetch a balance. I want to fetch your transaction history for an account, and maybe tokens, though tokens might get a little bit hairy because there's multiple token standards, as you very well, most of you will be aware of. So let's see, we have this portfolio and I want to rebase portfolio on top of Solana Client React. So let's see, git checkout bman portfolio, and we're going to get this commit hash for just in case, and we're going to say git rebase bman Solana Client React. And then we see we actually have 2 commits. I don't like that. I want this to be 1. So what am I going to do? I'm going to take this commit hash right here. I'm going to say git reset hard bman Solana Client React, and I'm going to say git cherry pick this one. Now, when I check, I only have 1 commit between the 2 of us. And I can see what I actually changed is this branch. And here you see what's actually pretty sketchy still. So my features package now depends on Solana Client, Solana React. And inside features portfolio, I added this hook and basically a portfolio index. And right now you see that this one has 0 sol. But let's actually go to let's clean up the database. Let's do it differently. And we're going to reset the thing. Now this should redirect us to accounts. Very good. And I'm going to import our friend Pill Tomorrow, which is the seed phrase that's named in the Solana documentation. And the reason I use this is that it has a bit of sol. So it has a bit of sol on DevNet. It has a bit of sol on testnet. I reckon it doesn't, but we might send it some. So actually, let me send sol. So Solana send, Solana transfer is the thing. And I'm going to say now, API test, DNS error, failed to look up. Okay, this is not what I expected. I'm going to give it one more try, but this seems, okay, this is progress. I got a different error message. Amazing. We need to pass in allow unfunded recipient. There we are. Okay, so now if I switch to local net and I switch to testnet, we see that we actually have this 1.42 sol on testnet. Now this is a public seed phrase. As said, it's in the docs. So yeah, this may be gone very soon, but I don't really care. For now though, it's what we want to see. So with this, we can kind of test these different wallets in different networks. And this is exactly the behavior that we want for this. Now, as you can see in the Git history, this is a work in progress. This is very much me sketching out what I think we should do and how I think this can look. What I actually realized, I want to have a portfolio package. So portfolio is going to sit right here as a React package. So first I'm going to undo this commit. So we're just basically now on a dirty staged branch. Now we're just on a dirty branch. I want to get rid of this features eventually. Settings used to live here. It's now in its proper thing. Portfolio will now live in its proper thing. We need to figure out what we're going to do with dev. Most likely it will be a React thing as well. And then the core, which is the core shell, the layout, if you will, should live in its own as well. We don't want like a generic features package because it doesn't really make sense to me. We'd rather be specific. So let me generate a portfolio package here. And this one's going to be very similar to what we have here in settings. So let's see if it got loaded. It did. Let me quickly compare these package JSONs. So both use the same generator, but I reckon there's a bit of a difference here where, yes, we want dependencies to be on top. And I'm just actually going to copy this just so it is in line. There we are. Perfect. Now, what I need here is what I actually added to the features package JSON. So in the features package JSON, we need Solana client and Solana React. So I'll add those back in here. What I also need is DB at least, and DB React most likely, because I think I should be able to like fetch the active wallet and fetch the active cluster. So a lot of these things may change at some point, but for now, I'm just going to add these things in, and we can get rid of those afterwards. Quickly peeking into here, Ellipsify. Yeah, I think I also actually want to use Ellipsify just to show things. And also React hook form. It gets more and more. So how about I just like kind of wrap this around. I'm actually going to add the whole bunch. Sort this alphabetically. Go ahead, please do this. Sort this alphabetically, get rid of the duplicates, and get rid of stuff that I really don't need. So I don't need key pair here for now. But the other ones, yes, I very much need all of this, I think. So great, so let's do this. And then in order to wire this all up, it wants me to run a npm install, which my editor has been suggesting for at least a minute, most likely more. And then what I'm going to do here is actually go to the portfolio routes. And I'm just going to copy over the whole stuff here. So inside portfolio, this is where we want to work on our portfolio. And then if I change the core routes here, I can basically take whatever we have in settings. Well, it's not even needed. I can just say workspace, portfolio routes. Now, why it complains? Because our features package does not depend on the new portfolio package. So I'm going to say portfolio here. I'm going to run another one of these npm installs. And then after that's done, it should be all wired up. So I'm going to refresh the app. Times this is needed. Oh, I'm doing something wrong here. Component spinner. Are they installed? Interesting. So let me see. This is wallet packages portfolio routes. So let me actually restart TypeScript service. Yeah, there you go. This is good. This looks good. I don't know if it is good. It looks good. Now here, I'm going to go in here. I should have the spinner, but it seems like it cannot find it. Okay, here we are. I actually realized what happens. This one is linking back to core UI not found. Now core UI not found is not here. In fact, this should be a UI library, so this should live elsewhere. For now though, in my new portfolio routes, I'm going to go ahead and just add this in right here. There we are. So now we're going to load the thing and it says something else. Failed to resolve spinner from package portfolio feature index.ts. Is this file loaded? So it looks like portfolio package JSON doesn't depend on workspace UI, but it does. Interesting. I'm going to rebuild the thing, but it still does not love it. In packages, portfolio, search portfolio feature index. Toby, GM sir, good to see you on the stream checking in. Yes, I really hope to have you on the stream later. We'll have 2 icons and we'll have to figure out the dynamic. Is it going to be 50-minute me or 30-minute me, 30-minute you? Or how are we going to do it? But yeah, I'm sure that we will find a way to get that going. I actually think this is my issue, that I suffixed this with JS. Now, because we took this from features, I think we have something in the TypeScript. So in fact, features has a lot of things that it does differently. And this is another reason why I really want to get rid of this features package. It's like it's kind of a unicorn at this point. I don't like unicorns. I don't believe in these things. And this is another thing, we need to update our templates so that test gets added there as well, because I was running this type checker and I missed type checking in my tests on CI. Great. Okay, with this, I now have the same feature running here, so I can get rid of it right here in features portfolio. I can get rid of the Solana client and Solana client React, and I'm just going to delete this one. So now it's nice and sweet and short, and this can probably just move to the core or to shell, however we're going to call it, and then the dev can be its own stuff. And we're slowly moving to a world where we can delete the features repo, the features package, I must say. So yeah, get sees that I did a rename, amazing, and I added a bunch of stuff. So this is very much the base. Now, one of the things that I realized when I was building this out is that what I think, at least for now, is a thing. So I just explained at the start of this show that we will make sure that you will not be able to land here if you don't have a wallet and don't have a cluster. That's great because we don't have to take that into account. That said, we will still need to know that you actually have an active one selected, and we need to know which. And in addition to that, if you change the cluster or you change the wallet that you have, this needs to change accordingly. So we can go to wallet settings. If it lets me, you can go to wallet settings, we derive a new wallet, and then we can switch between this one. Amazing. And then if we go to portfolio, we can switch between this one as well, which is great. And the same for cluster, which is all nice and good. But we need this, we need to have an easy way to manage this. So this is clearly very messy. This is me sketching around. And what I've been doing in Create Solana Deb templates is actually create the concept of a guard. And I think that's what I'm going to do here as well. Now, not everybody likes the guard. I think I don't really like the guards, but it beats the alternative of having to do this imperatively. So let me quickly go into this templates repo. It's one of my most used templates, or my most contributed to templates of the last year. And let me say this one, Gil React V template. I think here in cluster, nope, in account. Is there a guard right here? There's no guard right here. Did I put it in UI? I did not. So let me just search. I can just search right here, guard. You can just search things, right? Interesting. I may not have it here. I do know that I have it in the Wallet UI, which is another one of my top contributed to repos, Wallet UI account guard, TSX. But this is the file that I'm looking for. And why is this kind of a thing that not everybody likes? It uses the render prop. So render prop is basically a prop that you pass into a component, and that is the thing that renders. So this is kind of the syntax, and this has been in React for a long, long time, but it's kind of gotten out of fashion, and I get it. It's kind of clumsy, but the way around it is to basically create a wrapper account, a wrapper component. And for now, I reckon this is what I'm going to go with. And because I'm building out this part of the UI, the beautiful thing is I can just do things. So what I want this thing to be called? Well, in any case, it's portfolio UI. So portfolio UI, and let me start with the cluster guard. Now, what I want this thing to return is a cluster and a fallback, which will basically be our loading indicator. So the way this works is I'm going to be looking for the active cluster. So we're going to say use cluster live, active cluster ID. We're going to get that from the preferences. And then I'm going to find my cluster here. And then when I do have all of this stuff, now I'm going to say, hey, if you have a cluster, render this thing. And I think I'm just going to call this, I'm going to call this props with a cluster prop of cluster right here, so that in here I can just say cluster. So basically, if you have a cluster, call this function, which is the function that somebody here passed in, which returns a React node. So this is basically a way to say, give me a function. I'll give you a function with this argument that you can use to render any React node. In here, I'm going to add the UI loader that I just created earlier today. And the name of this interface is going to be portfolio UI cluster guard props. That's quite the mouthful, but that's good. Great. So I'm going to use this thing right here. And it's a self-closing component. We take render, and render is a function that returns a component. So we're going to say, okay, now you're going to return this component. And then instead of getting cluster from here, where it's right now, I can actually delete this, and now if we want to have cluster, we'll just take it from here, which also means we don't need this one. So this is nice. I like this. I like this pattern. It's clear, it's simple. You can do something like remove the braces, which makes it even clearer. However, I want to do the same thing for a wallet. So let me recreate the same for wallet guard, or do we want, no, we do want wallet guard. And we're going to have these props. So actually want to have the props down here. And we want to have the props down here. I can want this, but ESLint is going to be, yeah, that's not going to happen, dude. So I'm going to say wallet guard, and now ESLint will probably say, yeah, dude, your interfaces need to go on the top, which I'm fine with. Go ahead, do it. So this one, if we have a wallet, return the wallet, or otherwise return the fallback. Now this wants to be a wallet, and it wants to be called wallet. And now I have a double guard, and this is already where you can kind of see like, yeah, this is clumsy because now you have a double guard. I'm going to stick with it for now because you can easily abstract this into something that's cleaner, that's clearer. So instead of doing this for here, what we're going to say is return this thing, which is a self-closing one. And here I'm taking a wallet, and the function that I'm going to show here is this one. The function that I'm going to return here is this one. Now I need to change my syntax here. Oh, the screen just popped dark. Let me actually connect my computer to the power, as I was not connected to the power. So this is a function that takes a wallet. Now I load in cluster, now I load in wallet, so now I don't need this check anymore. And now I don't need this anymore. And I don't need the other ones anymore. So this is kind of nice, I think. And it gives us one way, one place to say, hey, if a wallet is not set or if a cluster is not set, this is how you render it. So it's a very safe way to do things. And then after this, you can basically, so we don't even need this one. So we can just say, hey, portfolio feature index. You have this weird double nested thing. But now that we have this weird double nested thing, we can basically do anything with it. So I'm going to move these into their own files so that this file gets cleaned up a bit, because these are things that I actually want to keep. So the cluster guard type right here, fine. Let ESLint do his thing. Back here, moving this one out. Do the same thing with the type. So pick up the type right here, actually delete it, go back to my wallet guard, and then let this thing do its thing. Now this UI loader, this is not great. So we shouldn't arrive here, but if we arrive here, it shouldn't be a loader, because if we arrive here in some way, shape, or form, and it's just a loader, then the user keeps on waiting. So I'm going to be very, very simple here and say wallet not selected. And I'm going to do the same with the fallback for the portfolio cluster. Sure, put it in a different line. I like that. Here we're going to say the same, but we're going to say cluster not selected. Great. So now we have this double guard, and there's a few things that I can do here. One is I can combine these things now and actually create a new render prop, but I don't think it's needed. What I think I may do is actually run it right here. And let me see if I can sketch that out. So what happens if I say, so I'm just going to be adding a new one here. Index true, and I'm going to be having this one. So this is just an empty page. Great. So now my page here is empty. As you can see, I want to run this as an element inside my router. So I'm just going to say this is an element inside my router. Now, what do I gain with this? Honestly, not too much. Honestly, not too much. Because what I want to do, I actually want to do this one place on the top of everything, and then just basically prop drill the cluster in the wallet in anything that's needed. So what I actually want is basically a router that has these things. So it looks like I'm going to be ending up with a wrapper component, portfolio routes cluster wallet. I'm just going to call it how it occurs to me right now. So this is going to be cluster, and this is going to be wallet. So this is the thing I want to load. I don't want this weird thing right here. I do want to add it to the index. So here I would just want to say, and actually I can call these things props, and just spread out the props here. And while we're at it, we might as well give this a proper name and say export type, export interface, cluster wallet equals this. And that shouldn't be an equals, that's just like so. So this is my cluster wallet interface, and this one is going to go here. And then I'll be receiving that in the feature index right here. Props, cluster wallet. Take that from there. And then in the index, I'm going to show my balance. And lo and behold, so let me make a div and another div and say in here we have this balance thing. You can actually just destructure props here. And this is kind of the nice thing here. I don't even know what makes sense. I like a red border, so just do border red 500. So now it actually becomes very clean. So we pay a price of having a bit of a dirty structure here, but it doesn't stay this way. So we don't need to report routes back here. So this one can actually go portfolio routes cluster wallet and load it like so. Now, I appreciate that people might find this a bit confusing. It may be a bit confusing. That's all right. I'm going to copy this one. I'm going to move this to its own file. And actually, these are the routes. So this is the routes. And I'm going to call this the routes loader. Or load it. I don't know. Naming stuff's just hard, man. In addition, what I do here in the live stream is making stuff work, and then the day afterwards, with some fresh eye and a morning coffee, I go over it, be critical to myself, and figure out what the hell I was thinking. And then we go here. Sandeep, GM sir, good to see you here. Late attendance as well. Yeah, it's like 3:30, 3:45. Where you at? What did you miss? Well, we're actually we have a Solana client connection. We have a selected wallet, and we can load stuff. We can call into the cluster and check if somebody has a balance. So we're basically building the very, very basic logs of the actual wallet. Now, in the morning, like earlier today, I created these tabs and I created a way to redirect you to the account create screen if you don't have an account. So this is kind of part of the onboarding flow. Steven, brother, so good to see you here. Make it work, make it right, make it fast. Yes, if I ever get a tattoo, I'll probably have it that make it work, make it right, make it fast. Because I want to live by these words. In all honesty, I'm very good at step 1. I'm fairly good at step 3. Most of my apps, I don't get to step 3 because it's either fast enough or I'm distracted by something else. But yeah. Sandeep asks if I was able to squash yesterday's bug. I didn't look into it because I decided I'm going to use database transactions to do all of this stuff. So I created good notes so I know my train of thought. And yesterday's bug was related to, we can actually look at it. It was related to this account. So you have an account which has a derived wallet, or two in this case, or three, and you can switch these things. So all nice and good. Now, if I want a second account, I'm just going to create a new one right here. Second account, and I create a bunch of these. Now you already see the issue. This thing drops down because if I set this account as active, sure, because it's in this wallet as active. If I set this wallet as active, sure, because it's in the same account. But if I go to the other account and set one here as active, it doesn't show. Also, it doesn't update this one. So what I need to do, and I'm going to use database transactions for this, if you hit set active on any wallet, it'll, before it will do this, it will figure out, hey, which wallet is this? Which account does it belong to? And then before setting it active, actually first set the account active, so this, and then set the wallet active. I'm not sure about the order just yet. If I first do the wallet and then the account, there might be a split second where this one is not set. The other way around, there might be a split second where this is not set. I need to figure it out. And the reason I'm going to do it in a database transaction is that I can do it test-driven. So I don't need to do the UI in here, and it will make it way cleaner. Now, another thing I realized is that this thing is annoyingly in the way. So something to fix. But yeah, we're building these guards out, and as said, I'll do the cleanup of this afterwards. But it does give us a place where we can now say, hey, we have this balance, which is the portfolio feature get sol balance, sure. And then the next thing I want to actually do is get activity. That's how I think we're going to call this. Get activity. And get activity is going to live right below this thing. So get activity. And for now, it'll just render the same thing twice, sure. But I build a lot of this stuff already inside the templates directory. So here it's called transactions. And here I have a get signatures query. So I need to get this stuff. I think the hook is right here, get signatures query. So I need to do get signatures for address. So let's start with that one. And so use portfolio get balance. I'm going to say use portfolio get activity. And what we're going to do here is get signatures for address, and get activity is how we want to call it. So we're going to go get the activity, and then inside here, activity, we're going to call this one. And again, I'm just passing through these same things over and over again. Now, there are different ways to do it, different ways to do it. One way is that you have a provider on top and you use this React provider to add that stuff all in, which works, but we may not need it. And one of the nice things about working with Toby on this is that Toby asks a lot of questions like, hey, why are you doing it like so? And oftentimes the answer is, well, yeah, that's just how I do things. And he's like, I don't think you need it. And it really simplified a bunch of things already that I've been working on. So that's just really good for really good effect of working together with somebody who knows what they're doing. UI loader, and I'm actually going to do this a bit differently. So if balance query dot is loading, return the is loader right here. No, UI loader row. And actually, I'm going to say, hey, is loading and data. So I don't want this fella right there. I don't want this right here. And I don't want to have the word balance query or any of these. So this is going to be is loading and data. And we're going to pick up this fella from here and move it there. Bam. And then just show this the data. And now I expect to see a bunch of transactions. There we are. Amazing. So do a null2 here, null2. Great. So how this must work, according to me, is we have this get signatures addresses for API response. That's kind of a mouthful, but we'll deal with it. And this is a feature component, and the feature component is going to pass the data into a UI component. This is your typical dump smart component division. And this is actually the component I want to show. So I'm just going to copy this whole fella. Now, some may say you're stealing. Bro, I wrote this myself. So please hold your horses. And if nobody thinks it's stealing, I'm sorry. I didn't want to insult anybody. I'm clearly just making conversation here while we're at it. So portfolio UI activity. Now, what the activity wants to get, it wants to get items. So I like to call these things generic. And one of the reasons I like to call these things a generic name is that I do a lot of copy pasting when I build out these things. And if I call them transactions here and I copy over this table somewhere else and I forget to update that, that's not great. So that's not what I'm going to be using. Get signatures for address response. Let's make sure. Get signatures for address API response. Okay. And I hope this thing is exported. It is not. Okay, let's go to the Agave repo. So Enza or Agave, let's go to the Git repo and search if this type is exported somewhere. It's not, it doesn't exist. Okay, interesting. I'm gonna do a lousy job here, and I know there is a memo which is a string on here. So I'm just gonna have one property. It's kind of an ugly thing, but bear with me. I'll make this right. At some point, I'll make it work first. In fact, why don't I just use the data right here? Then use these, put them in front of the loader. Now we can get rid of query dot, and we can just see what things do I need to destructure from my hook, which is error, refetch, error itself is success, and data is already loaded. Now I'm just going to import all of the rest of the things and get rid of query here as well. So this is very much make it work. But as I said, we'll get there. No, don't import this from here. I don't have table. Okay, let me go to apps web, shadcn, add table. I would swear that I already used the table in this app, but it looks like I did not. Table already exists. Yeah, okay, so it cannot just, it won't let me import it. How about I go in here and say table, and then just say table. Yeah, Joe and I, come on, help me, brother. Table body, table head, table header, table row. That should most fit. Now there's 2 more. App Explorer link. Great. It wants a way to link to the Explorer, something we haven't dealt with just yet. I do have Ellipsify right here. So what I think I'm going to be doing, App Explorer link here as well. It's going to be linking to a, yeah, I'm not going to deal with this today. Instead, I'm going to comment these out. So tomorrow I'll have eyesore from looking at this. And instead, we're just going to print this one and we're just going to print the other one as well. Yes, Gemini was right. And now we should have a list of transactions if this all renders. So let's see where this gets us. It's loading. There you go. Show all. This looks more and more like an actual wallet. You gotta love it. Okay, great, great, great. I'm super happy with the progress. Let me quickly figure out how I did the account UI balance, the balance sol. So I have a function account UI balance. So I'm going to be adding this one in here and then the sol balance, and just going to have this thing. Balance is in Lamports, sure, which we get from there. The only thing we don't have is Lamports from sol. So if we go to Gil SDK Gil, we're going to borrow this from Gil. So this is a function right here, Lamports to sol. What I'm going to do is pop it in here, go into my Solana client, and this is where I actually think this thing should live. Now, I don't know why my editor is acting up, but it is definitely acting up. If Toby is still watching, he might say, just use NeoVim, which at some point I know I will. But today is not the day. So Lamports to sol, human readable needs to be done with a dash. So I'm going to update that in my code. I'm not going to send a pull request for that. And this should allow us to import that one from the balance. So then I should be able to go here and actually say balance equals data.value. Now, data.value is Lamports or undefined, so I'm going to say data value or null. Or null, or is it big int? New big int or new Lamports null. Not new Lamports, Lamports small. There we are. Putative Lamports. Very funny for people that speak Spanish. Putativa. Anyway, 2.something. So this is great. This already looks way better. So we're going to have balance sol. This doesn't want to be a pre. This doesn't want to be there. This wants to go. And then I just class name text. What is it? 5 XL font bold balance. Bam. Let's do a text center for good measures. And let's get rid of the word balance. So that's that. And then now it's kind of time to get rid of these things. In fact, oh, I'm sorry. In fact, I can just get rid of the whole class right here. Comment x, 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 and x. Oof, boy, oh boy. I feel like I'm making progress. Does this look like a wallet or not? Come on, guys, help me out here. So we're here, local net, devnet, some failed transactions on local. I mean, it's far from perfect, but Samui hasn't been closer to a wallet than it is right here. I'm super happy with this progress. And yeah, I also think we've been in the show for 55 minutes now. I think I'm going to keep it a short one for today. This has been a very long day. I had some long days, short nights. I've been having a lot of meetings with people. I'm going to move this to its own function. So I'm just going to pull up this pull, clean up this pull request. And yeah, so one of the things that I will share right here, a lot of these Solana React client things, a lot of these things are and the portfolio viewer, I see it more as a feature. So it's the UI that you check the portfolio, but we might check the sol balance, or we might want to get activity at another place. So I'm very interested in moving stuff into this Solana client React package so that we can actually get to reuse these things in other parts of the application. Or if somebody wants to build a wallet based on the building blocks, they should be able to install Solana Client React and have a bunch of properly designed hooks that work well together consistently with a clean UI. Without clean UI, so it's going to be headless basically. And then that should make the UI components more simple. So I'm going to move these ones right here. I'm going to update where I used these things. So that's going to be right here. Going to be going into UI. And yeah, I'm actually fairly happy with how this is coming together. Another thing that I think I don't need cluster wallet right here. So cluster feature index, where I use this thing, it may not need it from there. It can get it from the portfolio routes, load it. And that makes it unused right here. So this is what I want to see. I also don't think I need React. And this is something I've been trying to get ESLint, or TSLint to ESLint. I tried to get ESLint vomit when that happens, but nope. Yes, Sandeep agrees. It's good to split up these things. So data fetching, user interface should be separate. And I thank you for sharing that we did make some good progress today. Actually, yeah, as I said, it has never looked closer. It has never looked more like a wallet than we are right now. So now I am gonna do a few minor things. So portfolio, UI balance, sol. So this way wants to be a separate UI component that may live here in UI. So I'm gonna update it here. So somehow it stopped updating it. This used to be one of WebStorm's or IntelliJ's strong suits. Somehow it doesn't do it. I don't really care for now. I'll do it manually. But yes, we have activity, we have a sol balance. Next time, the next thing is actually show your tokens, get a bunch of tabs in, and we are close to actually sending out a transaction, which is maybe something we'll look at tomorrow in the stream. For now, though, I want to say thank you everybody for watching. I hope this was interesting. I'm gonna go walk home, hit the sack, get some good hours of sleep, and then I hope to see you all back tomorrow in my morning update on my way to the co-working. Thank you everybody, love you all, bye bye.